Elena Hayes had always lived her life carefully, like a pianist playing only the safe notes, never daring to press the keys that might echo too loud. She worked as a graphic designer in the heart of Crescent City, a sprawling metropolis of endless skyscrapers and flickering neon lights, where millions of lives passed each other every day without ever colliding. Elena preferred it that way. She kept to herself, blending into the crowd, her world defined by quiet routines, coffee from the same corner cafe, work at the same gray office, and evenings spent sketching in her small apartment with city lights spilling through her window. But beneath her calm life, there was something she never spoke of. Something that had followed her for 10 years, a secret. It started the night her brother disappeared. Michael Hayes had been everything she wasn't, bold, reckless, unafraid of breaking the rules. He had gotten involved with the wrong people, chasing dreams of fast money and dangerous thrills. And one rainy night, he was gone. No explanations, no goodbye. The police report listed him as missing, possibly dead, but Elena never stopped feeling that his absence was not an accident. Somewhere deep in her bones, she knew Michael's disappearance was tied to something larger, something hidden in the city's shadows. She buried that truth beneath years of silence, pretending to move on. But the wound never closed. Then came the day everything changed. It was late evening, the office nearly empty, when Elena packed her things and stepped out into the chilled night air. She had barely made it a block when she noticed him. A man leaning against the lamppost across the street. Dark coat, sharp jaw, eyes that seemed to study her with unsettling focus. She told herself it was nothing. Crescent City was full of strangers. But then, as she walked past, he spoke. Elena, her name. She froze. Her co-workers never walked this way, her neighbors wouldn't be here, and no one else should have known her. Slowly she turned. The man pushed off the lamppost, his movements deliberate. Don't be afraid. My name is Adrian Cole. I knew your brother. The world tilted. For years, no one had dared to mention Michael. He was a ghost locked away in her memories. And yet, here was this stranger, speaking of him as though he were only steps away. Elena's voice cracked. What did you just say? I knew Michael, Adrian repeated, softer this time. And I think it's time you knew the truth. Something in his tone, firm but not unkind, made her blood race. Still, she forced out, if this is some kind of game, it isn't, he interrupted. His eyes a stormy gray held hers without wavering. Michael didn't just vanish. He left because he uncovered something. Something dangerous. And I'm here because the danger has found you now. The night around them suddenly felt colder, the city's noises sharper. Elena shook her head. You expect me to believe that after 10 years some stranger suddenly shows up and what? Saves me? Adrian sighed, as though he had expected this. I don't need you to trust me right now. I only need you to listen, because whether you like it or not, you're already in the middle of it. And with that, he walked away, disappearing into the crowd before she could demand more. For days, Elena tried to convince herself it was nothing. Just a strange encounter. But then small things began to happen. A car parked too long outside her building. Unknown numbers calling and hanging up. A shadow she thought she saw trailing her one evening. Each time, panic clutched her chest, and each time, she remembered Adrian's words. The danger had found her. One night, as rain slicked the sidewalks, she left work to find Adrian waiting under the awning of a shop across the street. Still following me? She snapped, though her voice shook more from fear than anger. Protecting you, he corrected. Michael made me promise. Elena's heart stopped. You're lying. He wouldn't. Adrian pulled something from his coat pocket. A small silver pendant, tarnished but familiar. Her brother's. She remembered it clearly. Michael had worn it since they were kids. Her breath caught as she reached for it, her hands trembling. He gave me this the night he disappeared, Adrian said softly. Told me that if anything ever happened, I was to find you. And now, here we are. Tears burned Elena's eyes, but confusion was stronger. Why now? Why after all these years? Because the men who went after him never stopped looking, Adrian answered grimly. And now, they think you know more than you do. The words settled over her like a storm. She wanted to run, to pretend none of this was happening. But some part of her, the part that had never stopped searching for answers, leaned closer. What do they want? she whispered. Control, Adrian said simply. Your brother found out about a network. Money laundering, power trades, dangerous deals in the city. He tried to stop them. And he died for it. Elena's knees buckled. You mean he's... Adrian's silence was the answer. Grief and fury tangled inside her. 10 years of not knowing, 10 years of unanswered prayers, and now this stranger was unraveling it all in one night. But it wasn't just grief she felt. It was something else. Something she didn't want to name. Because every time Adrian looked at her, his eyes carried not just knowledge, but sorrow, as though her brother's death had scarred him too. As though he carried guilt alongside secrets. In the days that followed, Adrian never left her side. He walked her home, lingered near her office, and when shadows grew too close, he guided her away. At first, Elena resisted his presence, but slowly, painfully, she began to see what lay beneath his guarded exterior. Loyalty, regret, and something unspoken that grew heavier each time their eyes met. She hated herself for noticing, for caring, because wasn't this betrayal? Wasn't this a betrayal of Michael's memory, to feel her chest tighten at the sound of Adrian's voice? But her heart didn't ask for permission. The danger escalated quickly. One evening, Elena returned home to find her apartment door cracked open. Inside, drawers were overturned, papers scattered. Panic surged, but Adrian was already there, pulling her into safety. They know we're close, he muttered. We don't have much time, she grabbed his arm. Close to what? The truth, he said, his voice low. The truth your brother died for. And so began their descent into the city's underbelly, abandoned warehouses, coded files, hidden accounts. Adrian revealed everything he had uncovered since Michael's death, and together they pieced the puzzle. Every revelation cut Elena deeper, yet every step bound her more tightly to Adrian. One night, after a narrow escape from men who cornered them in an alley, Elena broke. You should have told me sooner, she cried, her voice raw. You should have let me grieve instead of dragging me into this. Adrian's face twisted in pain. I couldn't. I made a promise to him. To protect you, and I... He stopped, the words choking him. You what? She demanded. I cared too much, he whispered. More than I should have. More than I wanted to. Her chest tightened painfully. The confession hung between them like a fragile thread. Dangerous, forbidden, but undeniable. She turned away, unable to speak, because her heart had already betrayed her, and she didn't know how to stop it. The final confrontation came weeks later. They had uncovered the names, the files, the men responsible, and those men were not about to let the truth surface. In the dead of night, in a warehouse lit by broken skylights, Adrian and Elena faced them. The fight was brutal, chaos breaking around them like waves. And in the end, Adrian fell, wounded, bleeding, but unrelenting as he shielded her. Elena, he gasped, his hand gripping hers. Michael loved you first, but I stayed. Remember that. Tears blurred her vision as she held him, refusing to let go. No, don't you dare leave me too. But fate, as always, was cruel. When the police arrived, the enemies scattered and the truth finally found the light. Adrian was gone. Elena stood in the ruins of everything she had known. Her brother lost, Adrian sacrificed, her world torn apart. But within the ashes, something else remained. Strength, courage, love, not as she had once dreamed, but as she had now lived, messy, painful, unforgettable. In the weeks that followed, she told their story. She exposed the network, cleared Michael's name, and carried Adrian's memory like a fire in her chest. She walked the city's streets not as a ghost of the past, but as a survivor of it, and on the anniversary of her brother's disappearance, she lit a single lantern and let it float into the night sky. For Michael, she whispered. Then softer. For Adrian, too. The lantern rose higher, glowing against the stars, and Elena Hayes finally understood that love, no matter how broken, no matter how secret, has the power to change destiny itself.